Mike Maloney, one of the top guys when it comes down to investing in gold and silver. I actually did some research on him, and he was actually one of the first person when I actually typed it up on Google to actually find out about how to start investing in precious metals. He was one of the first person I actually started watching, and I watched one of his videos, which is about 30 minutes long, 29, but yeah, we'll round it off to 30. And I think it was called top 10 reasons I invest in gold and silver, or invest in gold or invest in silver. But I actually went along and revisited that video again and wrote down the top 10 reasons he says he invests in gold and silver. Now that I know a little bit more about the precious metal games, I just want to go over some of my thoughts by actually putting some of the 10 reasons he got up on here. Well, putting all the 10 reasons he got up on here and actually go over my thoughts for all of them. Alright? So thank you for watching another video of Urban Lifestyle, where our goal is to help you guys create a better life by creating better health and wealth. And you guys can also help out by leaving a subscribe, leaving a thumbs up, comment on the video, let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to hit that notification icon so you guys can get future notifications of my future videos. Let's go. I'm working for work and grind. Alright, so let's get into it. Number one, Mike Maloney says that all fiat currencies fell.
What is a fiat currency? Fiat currencies are faith-based. They are national currencies that are not backed by anything of value like gold. Instead, the government just declares that they have value.
Now, when I take a look at it and when I do my own research, I actually see, yes, there's tons of fiat currency around the world that actually fall in their time. Alright? Now, looking at it right now, the most strongest fiat currency that my mind can actually imagine right now is the US dollar bill. Maybe because I'm close to it, or, you know. Honestly, there's piece of my mind that believes that there's no way the US dollar bill can fail. But of course, with time, we've seen that the US dollar was stronger at some point in time. What I could buy back then, I can't buy right now with the same amount of value that I could have brought whatever I purchased back then right now. And what worked for my grandma and grandpa back then, where they was able to save their money and then the bank would pay them interest off that money, I can't do that right now. The interest won't even touch the inflation rate that I actually put in my savings. So when it comes down to all fiat currency fails, I have to give them a check on that, because I actually believe that. Now let's head on to number two, the current state of the global economy.
The next step was to sever the connection between money and currency entirely. With gold, government spending was also constrained. If a government wanted to spend more than its income, also known as deficit spending, it had to borrow gold from the private sector. But the debt-based global monetary system has allowed deficit spending and trade imbalances and bubbles to persist and balloon to levels unprecedented in all of history.
Now, this one is not really that hard to go, because every time when I watch the news, especially with Trump in there, I'm hearing stories about the government shutdown. Maybe pre-2007, you know, I probably wouldn't believe that one, but hey, it's right there, you know. And back then, I pretty much didn't do no research. I was in high school. Now, I was forced to do my research after the recession, but looking at it, like, hey, man, you know, it may not be as strong as it was. With the global economy, from what I've been seeing, it's not morally like, hey, we're trying to fix it. It's, hey, we have a big problem. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let's put this Band-Aid on it. Let's put this on it. Let's just patch it up. All right? And we all know if the problem doesn't get better, then you still have the problem. So yes, with number two, the current state of the global economy, yes, because we all know gold does good when the economy is tanking, and that's all it is. Now, if you're buying gold, I say this a lot, if you're buying gold to actually make money, then you're in the wrong business. You should go invest in stocks and real estate and all that, which I will get to somewhere on the list here. But to be honest with you, for you to buy gold and silver, you have to have the mind frame of, hey, this is for protection. This is for insurance policy. All right. Hey, yeah, it's good to collect too. It's good to stack. It looks pretty. It's good to have. Now, number three, the New World Monetary System.
I am a firm believer that everything happens in waves and cycles. When I was writing my book, I discovered that every 30 to 40 years, the world has an entirely new monetary system. We have had 4 different monetary systems in the past 100 years. The system we are on today is the US dollar standard. It is an aging system that is way overdue for its own demise.
All right. Now, as far as that, I ain't too much go diving into it, but from what I looked into it, Makes sense. Like there was a time where the US currency was actually backed by gold, to the point where it was backed by a little bit of gold, and then it was backed by a quarter bit of a gold, and then it was backed by a tenth of a gold standard, and to the point where we're not backed by gold at all. So pretty much the way we treat our money is based on how I told you guys before. Hey, I believe that the US currency is strong. That's just my faith until proven otherwise. Now, back pre-2007, of course, I thought, man, US got the best dollar ever, man. Look at this. I would have put everything I had into US dollar. But now, knowing what I know now, I understand that, hey, you know, that US dollar, yeah, you know, I trust you, but nah, I put you here, but I don't fully trust you. So with this one, I can see it as possibly. All right, so I'll check that one off as well, as far as agree. All right, now number 4, gold and silver is a guarantee.
My book was written from 2005 to 2007. In it, I said there would first be the threat of deflation. This came true with the crisis of 2008, to which Ben Bernanke would overreact with a helicopter drop of currency. This came true with the bailouts and QEs, which would then cause an inflation. This came true when the stock markets and real estate markets reflated. So far, the Federal Reserve has not only lived up to my predictions, but it has surpassed even my wildest nightmares. They believe that they can fix things by running the printing presses. As I said in my book, next there will be a real deflation, a contraction of the currency supply they cannot control. This will happen when the credit, debt, bond, fiat currency, and derivative bubbles begin to implode. The reaction of the world's central banks will be to print until deflation gives way, which I believe will cause a hyperinflation. But a hyperinflation doesn't even require a nation to print its currency into oblivion. It only requires a loss of faith. But never fear, because periodically throughout history, gold has revalued itself as it is bid up in price by the free market as people rush back to it for safety.
Okay. Now, this one, I don't believe nothing in life is a guarantee. Nothing in life. But I do go off history. Just as an example, if somebody come over here and tell me, hey man, I could beat you in basketball, I'm the best basketball player in the world, I've never seen him play, that's to me is not a guarantee. All right. Now, if Michael Jordan comes to me or LeBron James comes to me and they're like, hey man, I'm the best basketball player there is. Now I have history. I've seen them play. I've seen what they can do. I've seen the stats. I've seen all that. I've seen the legacy. So now we're talking about money. Of course, money has a great track record. I mean it as far as longevity. So I can see the money I can see the money history. I can see the money track record. And from what I see it's going down the board. All right, I can't draw on here because I have a lot of information on here, so I can't really write on there. But I see that money, the US currency or any fiat currency, I see at the rate that they're going down in value. Okay? And throughout history, from as far as we can track, I've seen gold value. I've seen, hey, in the time of a panic or in the time of an economical shutdown, I see the price of gold goes up. Okay? So that's something I can actually see for myself. So this one, I gotta say yes as well. Not as far as 100% guaranteed, but through the track record, I gotta agree with it. Now, number 5, everything else is a scary investment.
By any realistic measure, stocks have been in a super bubble for more than a decade now, with valuations and yields in the danger zone, while bonds are in the later stages of a 30-year bull market and real estate is still deflating from the biggest bubble in history.
Now, come on, like, let's really put it this way. You can put, if you had $1 million, you put it into stocks, you put it into real estate, you put it into bonds, you put it into whatever it may be. I guarantee you, if you have a lot of your money into it, you're up there with the news, you're watching the news. It's not something that you're just gonna, all right, let me just put it aside and go about my life and not worry about it. You're gonna be watching the news. You want to know how the economy is doing, cause if anything goes, if the economy's tank, hey, you know, man, you feel me? But I feel with gold and silver, if you really think about it, with gold and silver, if the economy is good, you can sense the vibe. You're like, okay, all right, cool, everything is good. Let me just pack up. Let me just whatever, get my check, and I'll just buy gold. All right, hey, the economy's good. It's at $17. Okay, okay. And if the economy's bad, then you're like, oh, okay, cool. I guess it's time to sell now. Versus when it's stocks, it's like, you know, yeah, everything's good, but hey, how does tomorrow look? All right, hey, how does next year look? How does the company, all right, for 3 years from now look? All right, you know, hey, are we in a bubble? Oh man, we in a big bubble. I don't know, you know, man, yeah. You know, everything else does seem to be scary when you're investing into it. So yes, I have to double check this one. All right, so now we have 5 left. Now number 6 is the market psychology.
Nobody can really understand the markets or the economy, but you can get an inkling of what they're about if you understand what drives them: greed and fear.
Right? Now, I pretty much made a video about this. This will go under greed and fear. When people's greedy, of course the market is going up. But the one thing that could happen is it could take a good, let's say for gold and silver, it could take during a greed period when people just, well, let's call it a bullish period for stocks purposes. All right, so when people's facing the greed, when people's going in bullish, yeah, gold and silver, it may just have a slight bump. All right, now even in the markets, it could take time, like this period to get to this period. It could take time, but once that fear comes in, it could just go boom, go straight down right there faster than it actually took. Now with gold at the same time, it's a different case because it'll go up, maybe go up and down, but once it gets here, and let's say there is a panic, there is a bearish market, there is a crash, or there is a fearful time, what happens? It can double fast. All right, so I'll double check this one as well. Gotta get some new markers. It's going to be different. Number 7, it's going to be different.
The differences between the precious metals bull market of the 70s and the great gold and silver rush of today are vast. In the 1970s, only 2 major exchanges, one in London and one in the US, set the price of gold. So it was only North America and Western Europe, about 10% of the world's population, that could participate in that great gold rush. This time, it's the entire planet.
Now, what he said to go into that part, I can say I agree, because pretty much the last gold rush, it was only a certain amount of people that can actually participate in the gold rush, all right? US and some other country, I forgot. Back in those days, it wasn't as much millionaires. It wasn't that much billionaires out there, all right? We're talking about third world countries where people wasn't really that rich. Now, people back then was into the saving mentality. And now saving is actually punished, while investing is more rewarded. All right, so now a lot of people right now, millions and millions and millions of people are into the, hey, you know what, I need to start investing. I need to start investing. All right, saving is not the best way. How do I preserve my wealth? Let's invest. All right, so when it says it's really going to be different this time, the big boom that happened, let's say in the Great Depression back in the 1900s, gold did go up, but he's saying that it's going to be better and bigger this time because now there's more of a consciousness awareness that's actually going on in the world, that the amount of people that's going to actually flood, the amount of money that's actually going to flood into the gold and silver is going to be like you know, astronomical. And that one I have to come back to. Well, not on this video, but I just got to come back to it because I'm not really too sure about that one. But let's go down to number 8. Gold and silver should buy you a lot more.
There's an old myth that in ancient Rome, an ounce of gold could clothe a man from head to toe with a toga, sandals, and a belt, and that today, a man can still clothe himself in a suit, shoes, and belt for the price of an ounce of gold.
He goes into giving us a whole bunch of examples on this one, where gold and silver could buy you a nice suit right nowadays, where it should really buy us a lot of stuff, maybe feed us. And there's some people that actually says 1 ounce of gold can feed a family well, not a family, maybe one person for the next 6 months in Venezuela. In all honesty, what this statement is trying to say is that the price of gold should be way higher than what it is right now. And why is it not? Why is it still 1,300? Like, why is it only able to buy me a suit? Back in the Roman eras, it was able to buy people, well, not a suit, a toga and sandals or something. All right? I wasn't really too sure about that one until he said that the only reason gold prices are not as high is because, remember, investing is rewarded. Back then, if you wanted to store your wealth, you'd have to get it into gold and you would have to get it into silver, right? Now, there's so much ways to actually store your wealth. You can store it in stocks, you can store it in real estate, you can store it in bonds, like we already know. All right, so when he said that, it made a lot of sense. So yes, I agree with that one. Number 9, all at once, and it's global.
So there's more stuff per person than at any time in history, but the same amount of gold, and competing currencies and other assets have diluted gold's purchasing power. Today there's 200 times more wealth stored in these competing assets than there is in gold, and if only 10% of that wealth comes chasing gold, its price will rise 20-fold. And in the crisis I see coming, it's going to be a lot more than just 10%. The world is now in uncharted territory. Budget deficits, trade deficits, and government debt have ballooned to lethal levels. Real estate, stocks, and bonds are all in bubbles, and the credit, debt, and derivatives bubbles threaten to take down the world economy. It took years to create these bubbles, but it will only take days or weeks for them to burst, and all bubbles eventually burst. In the inevitable crash and currency crisis that are bearing down on us, most trusted investments will probably evaporate while gold and silver are pushed into hyperbubbles. Because when it comes to greed and fear, fear is by far the more powerful emotion, and in a crisis, fear is what drives investors. Today there are 10 times the people, each with 10 times the currency, and somewhere between 10 and 1,000 times the number of people with an investor mindset than in the last great gold and silver rush. That's somewhere between 1,000 and 100,000 times more currency that will come chasing gold and silver this time around. For the very first time in history, all the world's currencies are fiat, and fiat currencies have always failed. Couple that with the facts that every country on the planet is creating currency on a suicidal scale never before imagined, that every 30 to 40 years the world has an entirely new monetary system, that we are overdue for the transition to a new monetary system right now, and you now have the recipe for a cataclysmic economic event that will be the greatest wealth transfer in history.
Practically what we were saying for number 9 was everything is in a bubble. All right, and at a point in time, gold and silver is going to be in a bubble as well.
Gold and silver, however, haven't been in a bubble for more than 30 years, and from my measure still appear to be less than halfway through their bull market. The next great bubble will someday be gold and silver. It's just their turn.
But right now, everything is in a bubble. We're talking about stocks. We're talking about bonds. We're talking about the real estate market. Now, once all that starts crashing, what's going to happen is everyone across the world, we're talking about everyone across the world who now knows investing, who now knows that, hey, I get reward, hey, we should invest, who now knows that we're shifting from, hey, it's no longer about saving, what can we invest in? Everyone is going to be global. Like I said, it was only certain people that was able to participate in the last gold rush, but now it's global where everybody can get their hands on gold. We're talking about the whole world. So he's saying there's going to be a huge spike up in the price when all that happens. And that one sounds amazing, sounds fantastic, sounds stupendous, but I'm not all there yet. So I'm going to have to give that a look later on. All right. And then number 10, I can totally give that a triple check, quadruple check, a 10 times triple check. Because he sleeps better. That's his 10th reason.
As I said at the beginning of this article, I believe that an economic crisis of historic proportions is headed straight at us, and there is no avoiding it. Never before have all the governments on the planet simultaneously laid down the foundation for the perfect economic storm. I believe that there will be a global fiat currency crisis that will cause the bubbles in stocks, bonds, and real estates to burst simultaneously. This will result in the greatest economic crash the world has ever seen. Things could get pretty bad. The possibilities range from my being completely wrong to total economic collapse and a financial Armageddon from which we never recover. Toward the bad end is the possibility of the failure of the monetary system, which could cause rioting and a disruption of the food supply. But in any range of possibilities, there is something called a bell curve of probabilities. What that means is that either of the extremes, also called the tail risks, are very unlikely to happen, but that something in the middle is very likely to happen.
He sleeps better, and honestly, I sleep way better as well. Like, just knowing that, hey, I'm backed by something that was biblical. I'm backed by something that has meaning. I can sleep better at night. And that's pretty much all there. As we can see, I agree with everything that was said on that video. If you guys want to take a look at it, you guys should definitely look. It's called Top 10 Reasons I Stack Gold and Silver, and that's by Maloney. Definitely check him out. He's the guy who actually helped Robert Kiyosaki get into precious metals as well. He actually has a Rich Dad series book that you guys should definitely look at. I haven't read it yet. I plan to. Just reading a lot of books, so I haven't got to that when I actually purchased it. Just haven't got to it yet. But yeah, as you can see, I agree with mostly everything on there except for two things, and that's number 7 and number 9. Number 7 was it's going to be different, and number 9 is it's all going to happen all at once, and it's going to be global. All right. So hopefully you guys got some information from this video, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up, leave a subscribe, comment on the video, and have a wonderful day. That's why I work